my name is Roffey. I've been researching this field for about 6 or 7 years now. And what I was going to talk about today was the broad research, what we were originally trying to do, the different phases of that research, some broad findings as well, and then go into the toolkit. My preferred form of presentation is interactive. So if you've got any questions, or if you'd like to pull me up on anything, or fill a co-application, or if you'd like to provide your own insight into any of the points raised today, then please do so. I really encourage you to do that. I should also mention I work for Western Sydney Community Forum. They facilitated the development of this toolkit. They also invested in the research as well, so I'll talk a bit about that.
Oh, that might not work now because there's only one USB.
That's okay. I get that.
Right.
So this was the development of the research and the knowledge in this area. So in 2006, I was lucky enough to form an advertisement to do a research project in a non-profit organisation out of Southwest Sydney. And this organisation was very small. It was predominantly volunteer-based, but they had managed to get a bit of funding from a major corporate trust. And what they had to do was to develop an accountability measurement tool framework to account for the money that they were getting and to explain the success of the project that they had been funded for. What we found in this research was that the small organisation worked along very different kind of lines to the corporation, not just in terms of what they did and the size and the funding, all that kind of thing, but also in terms of the language that they use. For instance, the idea of sustainability, success, all these kind of things had very different meaning across the corporate and community sectors. So showing how they would achieve success was quite different to how the corporation would expect it. They were also given a framework in how to show that they were successful, and they found that very frustrating as well because this framework was very arbitrary, top-down, and they really had to think kind of creatively and outside the box to show how their organisation would fall within this framework. So there was obviously a disjuncture between the corporate understanding of the world and the community understanding of the world. And a lot of you might understand this from working with volunteers. This is a very volunteer-based organisation, grassroots, worked on basic needs as well as broad philosophies, all these kind of things. So that's very different to what corporations, or how corporations work. After this, the University of Western Sydney, along with two partner funding bodies, one was Western Sydney Community Forum, the other one was Westpac Foundation, decided to commission a research project on this. And it was titled Finding a Common Language. With this project, we had a multi-phase method where we would survey a range of non-profit organisations. We aimed for 100, and we got 100 to answer in Western Sydney. We also were trying to survey corporations, but that was a bit more difficult. Going through gatekeepers in the corporate world is quite difficult, as a lot of you will probably understand. So we had to think a bit more creatively. So we decided to do one-on-one interviews instead of broad surveys on corporations. We also interviewed non-profit organisations. And with that information, with that exploratory knowledge that we gained, we developed a action research project, which was to basically centre on a search conference event. Has anyone heard of a search conference before? The search conference is a conference that starts with disseminating knowledge and talking about general issues, but then it goes into a focus group kind of breakout session. So what would happen is we'll have 3 focus groups on at the same time, and each focus group had a particular issue that they had to fix. And this would involve both corporation representatives and non-profit representatives as well. So by doing that, we were able to understand how the language evolves within that kind of context, whether there was opportunity for common ground, whether they were able to find solutions to problems. One example of a problem that they were provided with was a non-profit organisation that dealt with single mothers with drug and alcohol abuse, trying to get them a corporate partner. And that was identified as one area that was quite difficult. A lot of the women's groups didn't have any corporate experience or experience with the corporate sector. And we had one corporate representative with a whole range of non-profit organisation representatives in this group. And it was really interesting to see the corporate reps being challenged through this process too. At times they were saying it's just impossible to get funding, other times they were providing suggestions on how they can creatively angle their work, all this kind of thing. So that was really interesting to see that.